They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I say it's best served at exactly -39 cents, mailed monthly with postage due. Let me tell you about the day I declared war on a bank, not with lawyers or lawsuits or angry phone calls, with pocket change and patience, and how I turned a 39 cents refund into the most expensive lesson U.S. bank ever learned about keeping their word. It started with a lie. But it ended with me laughing every time I checked my mailbox. I got my first credit card when I was 20 years old, not because I wanted one, but because I had to survive. Mom died 3 weeks into my sophomore year. Ovarian cancer, stage 4, gone in 8 months from diagnosis to funeral. Dad had bilayed when I was 12, so it was just me and a pile of bills that kept growing even after she stopped breathing. Life insurance covered the funeral. Barely. Everything else, that was on me. I remember standing in the financial aid office, holding that rejection letter, feeling like the world had decided I wasn't worth investing in. Unfortunately, due to changes in your family's financial situation. Translation, you're broken alone, kid. Figure it out. So I did what desperate people do. I applied for a credit card. U.S. Bank approved me for $300. $300 fucking dollars. At the time, it felt like winning the lottery. That little piece of plastic wasn't just a card. It was my lifeline, my backup plan, my proof that maybe, just maybe, I could make it on my own. I treated that card like it was made of gold. Never missed a payment. Never went over the limit. Hell, I rarely used more than $50 of it at a time. Gas money when my paycheck was late. Groceries when the cupboards got too empty. Medicine when I couldn't afford to get sick. For 6 years, that card and I had a relationship built on trust. I paid them on time. They kept my credit score climbing. Fair deal. I should have known it was too good to last. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Thick envelope, premium paper, my name printed in fancy font like I was somebody important. Congratulations, you've been pre-approved for the U.S. Bank Cash Plus Visa Signature Card. I almost threw it away. Almost. But something about the way they wrote pre-approved in bold letters made me curious, like they were proud to have me, like I'd earned something. The letter was full of language that made my chest tight with something I hadn't felt in years, being wanted. We appreciate your loyalty. You've demonstrated exceptional financial responsibility. As one of our valued customers, you deserve access to premium benefits. Valued customer, me, the kid who started with a $300 limit and a dead mom, but I wasn't stupid. I'd learned to read the fine print the hard way, so I did what any responsible person would do. I called the number on the letter. U.S. Bank Customer Service, this is Jennifer, how can I help you today? Hi, I got a pre-approval letter for the Cash Plus card. I want to make sure applying won't hurt my credit score. Oh, absolutely not, sir. Since you're pre-approved, there's no hard inquiry. We already have all your information. You're sure? Because I've worked really hard to get my score where it is. I completely understand, and I can guarantee you that this won't affect your credit score at all. You're already approved, we're just updating your account. I should have trusted my gut, but 6 years of perfect payments had earned me something, right? 6 years of being their ideal customer had to count for something. Okay, I said, let's do it. The application took 5 minutes. Name, social security number, income verification. Information they already had. Information they'd had for 6 years. Congratulations, Mr. Kevin. Your new card will arrive in 7 to 10 business days. I hung up feeling like I'd finally made it, like the financial world had looked at my history and said, this guy's okay, this guy deserves better. 2 days later, I learned exactly what their promises were worth. I checked my credit score obsessively, probably too much. But when you've climbed from nothing to 748, every point feels earned. So when I opened Credit Karma that Thursday morning and saw my score had dropped to 736, my stomach hit the floor. 12 points. Gone. And right there in the recent activity section, like a slap in the face. New hard inquiry. U.S. Bank credit card. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through the details. Hard inquiry. The exact thing they'd promised wouldn't happen. The exact thing I'd asked about 3 times during that phone call. I called customer service back, my jaw clenched so tight I thought my teeth might crack. U.S. Bank Customer Service, this is Michael, how can I help you? You lied to me. I'm sorry, sir, could you give me some details about what's going on? I applied for the Cash Plus card 2 days ago. Your rep promised me there would be no hard inquiry. Now my credit score dropped 12 points because of your hard inquiry. Let me pull up your account. I see the application here, sir. All credit card applications require a hard inquiry. That's standard procedure. Your representative told me there wouldn't be one. I specifically asked. I'm sorry for any confusion, but our system automatically generates a hard inquiry for all credit applications. There's nothing I can do to reverse that. Confusion. Like I'd misunderstood something simple. I want to speak to a supervisor. 20 minutes on hold. 20 minutes of that cheerful jazz music while my blood pressure climbed toward stroke territory. This is Sarah, I'm a supervisor. I understand you have concerns about a hard inquiry. Your bank lied to me. I was explicitly told there would be no hard inquiry. I have a perfect payment history with you for 6 years. 6 years of never being late, never going over limit, and this is how you treat loyal customers. Sir, I apologize for any miscommunication, but hard inquiries are standard practice. The good news is that the inquiry will only affect your score temporarily. Miscommunication. Not a lie, not fraud, just a little oopsie that happened to cost me 12 credit points. I want the hard inquiry removed. I'm afraid that's not possible. The inquiry was legitimate since you did apply for credit. Based on false information your representative gave me, I understand your frustration, but there's nothing we can do about the inquiry at this point. That's when it hit me. They didn't care. 6 years of perfect payments, 6 years of loyalty, 6 years of trust, none of it mattered. I was just another account number, another sucker who believed their marketing bullshit. Fine, I said. Cancel the new card. Are you sure? It's a great card with excellent rewards. Cancel it, today. I hung up before she could finish her sales pitch, but canceling the card wasn't enough, not even close. They'd played me, made me feel special with their valued customer letter, then stabbed me in the back with their standard procedure bullshit. If they wanted to play games, I'd give them a game they'd never forget. That night I sat at my kitchen table with a legal pad and a calculator, planning their destruction. Not the kind of destruction that makes headlines, the kind that makes accountants cry. First step, cut them off completely. I logged into my account and paid off my entire credit card balance, $127.43. Not much, but it felt good watching that number hit zero. Next, I transferred my checking account. All $8,943 of it. Every penny I had with them moved to a local credit union that actually gave a shit about their customers. Then my savings, $3,513, gone. In one day I pulled $12,456 out of US Bank and moved it to their competitors. But I didn't close the accounts. That would be too easy, too clean. Instead, I left exactly $1 in my savings account, the minimum balance to keep it open. Because what I had planned required keeping those accounts active. See, I discovered something interesting in their terms of service. Something their customer service reps probably didn't even know about. When you overpay your credit card, they have to refund the overpayment. It's federal law, and if the overpayment is under a certain amount, they have to mail you a physical check. A physical check that costs them money to print, process, and mail. That's when the real plan started forming. Every 3 months, like clockwork, I'd make a small purchase on my credit card, usually something from Amazon for $8.61. Random amount, nothing suspicious. Then I'd immediately pay $9 through their mobile app. This left me with a negative balance of exactly 39 cents, $39 that they now owed me. According to their own policies, any credit balance under $1 that remained for more than 30 days had to be refunded by check. They couldn't keep it. They couldn't apply it to future purchases without my permission. They had to send it back. So every 3 months, like the world's most petty subscription service, I get a check in the mail for 39 cents. Do you know how much it costs a bank to issue a refund check? Processing fees, 47 cents check printing, 23 cents envelope and postage, 62 cents total cost to refund my 39 cents, $1.32. They lost 93 cents every time they had to deal with my bullshit. And there wasn't a damn thing they could do about it. The first check arrived on a Wednesday. Plain white envelope, US Bank logo in the corner, my name and address printed in that corporate font that tries to look personal but just looks cold. Inside, a check for 39 cents. Made out to Kevin Mitchell, signed by some VP whose signature looked like a doctor's prescription. I laughed so hard my neighbors probably thought I'd lost my mind, but I didn't cash it. That would end the game too quickly. Instead, I bought a cheap picture frame from the dollar store and hung that check on my kitchen wall, my first trophy in the war against corporate lies. 3 months later, another purchase, another overpayment, another check. This one went on the wall next to the first one. After a year, I had 4 checks on my wall. 4 beautiful, stupid checks for 39 cents each. My friends thought I'd finally snapped. Dude, you're spending money just to mess with them, my buddy Jake said, staring at my wall of petty revenge. No, I told him, I'm investing in my mental health. And it's working, because every time I saw those checks, I felt something I hadn't felt since that phone call with customer service. Control. They'd taken my trust and fed it through their corporate bullshit machine, made me feel stupid for believing their promises, made me feel powerless in their system designed to favor the house. But these checks, these proved that even the little guy could find ways to win. I started giving the checks away as gifts. Weird gifts, sure, but gifts with a story. Here, I'd tell people, let me tell you about the time I went to war with a bank over 12 credit points. Some people thought I was crazy, but others got it. They'd been screwed by banks too. They'd been lied to by customer service reps who smiled while they fucked you over. One friend, Sarah, actually started her own version after her bank charged her a $35 overdraft fee on a $2.50 coffee purchase. If they want to play nickel and dime games, she said, I'll show them what nickels and dimes really look like. Year 2 brought refinements to my system. I calculated the exact timing to maximize their pain. The 30-day rule meant I had to be patient, but patience was free. Their processing wasn't. I varied my purchase amounts $8.61, $7.23, $9.45, always paying exactly 39 cents more than I owed. Couldn't look like a pattern. Couldn't give them grounds to claim I was gaming the system, even though that's exactly what I was doing. By my calculations, they'd processed $5.28 in refund checks and spent approximately $15.84 in processing costs. For every dollar they'd refunded me, they'd lost $3 in overhead. It wasn't much in the grand scheme of their billion-dollar empire, but it was something, and sometimes something is enough. The best part, it was completely legal. I wasn't breaking any rules, wasn't violating any terms of service. I was just being a customer who happened to overpay his credit card by 39 cents every few months. If their system was designed to screw over little people with fees and lies and miscommunications, then their system could deal with the little people fighting back one stupid check at a time. People always ask me why I kept going. Why not just close the account and move on? Why waste time and energy on something so small? Because it wasn't small, not to me. That 12-point credit drop cost me money, real money. When I applied for a car loan 6 months later, those 12 points meant a higher interest rate. Over the life of that loan, their lie cost me $847 in extra interest payments. $847 because some customer service rep couldn't be bothered to tell me the truth. But more than the money, it was about dignity, about refusing to be treated like I didn't matter. About proving that their actions had consequences, even if those consequences were microscopic. Every check they sent was an admission of guilt, a paper trail of their own stupidity, proof that they'd rather lose money than fix their broken system. I kept one of their checks in my wallet for job interviews. Sounds crazy, right? But when they asked about handling difficult situations, I had a story. A story about persistence, creativity, and refusing to accept that's just how things work. Got hired at 3 different companies partly because of that story. Turns out, employers like people who don't give up when they get screwed over. Year 3 was when things got interesting. I'd been so focused on my quarterly ritual that I almost missed the bigger picture. My credit score had recovered from their hard inquiry. Actually improved beyond where it started, but I'd also built something more valuable, a reputation. Word spreads in small communities. Kevin's the guy who's been fucking with US Bank for 3 years over 39 cents. Other people started sharing their own bank horror stories. The single mom who got charged $180 in overdraft fees in one day. The college kid whose student loan servicer lost his payments and destroyed his credit. The elderly couple who got scammed out of their retirement by smooth-talking investment advisors. My stupid little war had become a symbol, a reminder that you don't have to take it lying down, that there are always ways to fight back, even when the system seems rigged against you. I started keeping a folder of the checks, not just mine, other people's too, friends who'd adopted my strategy with their own banks. A whole network of people waging tiny wars against corporate indifference. The folder got thick, dozens of checks, hundreds of dollars in face value, thousands in processing costs inflicted on institutions that made their money by nickel and dimming people who couldn't fight back. The most surprising thing happened in year 4. I was making my quarterly purchase when I got a call from someone at US Bank. Not customer service, someone from their customer retention department. Mr. Mitchell, this is David from US Bank. I'm calling about your account activity. My heart rate spiked. Had they figured out what I was doing? Was this the conversation where they accused me of some kind of fraud? Okay, I said carefully. I've been reviewing your account, and I noticed you've been a customer for over 10 years now. Very consistent payment history, which we really appreciate. I also noticed you've been getting a lot of small refund checks. I wanted to reach out and see if there's anything we can do to improve your experience with us. This was it. The moment they'd tell me to knock it off or they'd close my account. What do you mean? I asked. Well, those small refunds are probably annoying to receive. Would you like us to set up automatic credit balance adjustments? That way, any overpayments would just roll over to the next month instead of generating a check. I almost laughed out loud. They were trying to help me. They had no idea I was intentionally costing them money, and they wanted to make the process more convenient for me. No thanks, I said. I actually prefer getting the checks. They're sentimental. There was a pause. Sentimental? Yeah, they remind me of how much I trust US Bank to handle my money properly. Another pause, longer this time. Well, if you're sure that's what you prefer, we're happy to continue processing them that way. I'm sure, but thanks for checking. After I hung up, I sat in my car laughing until my sides hurt. They'd called to help me be a more efficient pain in their ass. They were so focused on customer service metrics that they'd missed the fact that their customer was actively fucking with them. It was beautiful. By year 5, I'd accumulated 18 checks. 18 perfect, stupid, expensive checks for 39 cents each. $7.02 in face value. Approximately $23.76 in processing costs absorbed by US Bank. But the real victory wasn't financial. It was psychological. I'd proven something to myself that I needed to prove, that I didn't have to accept being lied to, that there were consequences for treating customers like shit, that patience and creativity could beat size and indifference. My credit score was now 791, higher than it had ever been. The 12-point drop from their hard inquiry was a distant memory, lost in years of consistent payments and smart credit management, but I kept the war going. Not because I needed to anymore, but because I wanted to. Because every check was a reminder of what I'd learned about myself and about fighting back against systems designed to crush people like me. The checks became conversation starters, party tricks, stories I'd tell at bars when people complained about feeling powerless against big corporations. Let me tell you, I'd say, about the time I went to war with a bank and won. The real victory wasn't my 18 checks or their processing costs. It was watching other people realize they didn't have to be victims. Sarah, my friend who started her own bank war, she'd collected 11 checks from 3 different banks by the time I hit my 5-year anniversary. Her folder was thicker than mine. Jake, who'd called me crazy in year 1. He started doing the same thing after his mortgage company lost his payment and tried to charge him a late fee. 3 years later, he had a whole photo album of ridiculous refund checks. My cousin Lisa started targeting credit card companies that sent her pre-approved offers with hidden fees. She'd apply, find the fee, demand a refund, then cancel the card. Her record was a $127 refund for a premium processing fee that wasn't mentioned anywhere in the original marketing. We became a small army of people who refused to be quietly screwed over. People who understood that sometimes the best revenge isn't dramatic, it's persistent. People think revenge has to be big and explosive. Movies and TV shows program us to expect dramatic confrontations, shouting matches, lawsuits that bankrupt the bad guys. But real life isn't a movie. Real revenge is quieter, more patient, more sustainable. My war against US Bank wasn't about destroying them. It was about refusing to let them destroy me, about maintaining my dignity in a system designed to strip it away. Every check they sent was an acknowledgement. Not an apology, they were too corporate for that, but proof that they couldn't just lie to me and move on. Proof that their actions had consequences, even tiny ones. The beauty of my strategy was its scalability. Anyone could do it. You didn't need money for lawyers or time for lawsuits. You just needed patience and the willingness to be consistently annoying. 39 cents was nothing to them individually. But 39 cents from 100 customers, 1,000, 10,000. The math starts getting interesting when you scale up petty revenge. By year 6, I'd moved to a bigger apartment, one with enough wall space for a proper display. I framed all 18 checks in a grid pattern, 3 rows of 6, each check perfectly centered in its own little frame. Below the display, I mounted a small plaque. In memory of the trust that died when they promised no hard inquiry and the patience that was born from its ashes. Visitors always asked about it. The display was impossible to ignore. 18 identical checks, all for the same amount, all from the same bank, arranged like some kind of modern art installation. The conversation always went the same way. What's with all the checks? Oh, that's my retirement plan. Your retirement plan is 39 cents. And then I tell them the story. About the lie, the credit drop, the calculated revenge. About how sometimes the best way to fight back isn't with lawyers or anger, but with creativity and spite. Most people laughed. Some people were horrified by the pettiness of it all. But a few, the people who'd been screwed over by banks and credit companies and student loan servicers, those people understood. Those people went home and started their own wars. The strangest thing about my 5-year war against US Bank was how much it taught me about money, banking, and corporate psychology. I learned about processing costs and profit margins, about how customer service scripts are designed to deflect rather than solve, about how companies budget for acceptable losses from customer dissatisfaction. I learned that most people working in customer service aren't evil, they're just following procedures written by people who have never had to call customer service themselves. I learned that persistence beats anger every single time. That quiet, consistent pressure accomplishes more than loud complaints. Most importantly, I learned that I didn't have to accept being powerless. That there are always ways to fight back, even when the odds seem impossible. That knowledge changed how I approached everything. Job negotiations, apartment hunting, dealing with insurance companies. I stopped accepting that's just how things work as an answer. The 18 checks on my wall weren't just trophies from a petty war. They were proof that I'd figured out how to win games that seemed unwinnable. Today, 7 years after that first lie from customer service, I still have accounts with US Bank, still make my quarterly purchases, still overpay by exactly 39 cents. My check collection now numbers 24, 24 perfect examples of corporate inefficiency, framed and displayed like the battle flags they are. The bank has never caught on. Never figured out that their valued customer is actually their most expensive customer per dollar of profit, that they've spent hundreds of dollars in processing costs to refund me less than $10. But I know, and knowing is enough. My credit score is 823 now, higher than 98% of Americans. The 12-point drop that started this whole war is ancient history, buried under years of perfect payments and smart credit management. I could stop anytime, close the accounts, move on, forget the whole thing. But why would I do that? The war isn't costing me anything except the price of occasional small purchases, and every check I receive is a reminder of something important, that you don't have to take it lying down, that there are always ways to fight back, that sometimes the best revenge isn't hot, it's cold, calculated, and paid for with their own money. The 39-cent war continues, not because I need it to, but because I want it to, because some lessons are worth teaching, even if they take a lifetime to learn, and because somewhere in the accounting department of US Bank, there's a line item that says Kevin Mitchell, 39-cent refund, 24 times, and that makes me smile every single day.